All right, let's dive in. Today, we are taking a trip deep into the heart of Germany to a place that's just packed with history and legend. We're talking about Schwarzwald Castle. So let's get this tour started. When you look at a castle like this, your mind immediately goes to fairy tales, right? But the real story of Schwarzwald, wow, it's so much deeper and more complex than that. We're talking about a history of war, incredible art, and secrets that are literally carved into the stone. So here's what we've got on the docket today. First up, we'll check out where this amazing castle is. Then, we're going to jump back in time to see how it started as a fortress. After that, we'll look at the incredible architecture, dig into some of its secrets, and finally see what it's up to in the modern world. Okay, first stop, picture this. We're deep inside Germany's famous Black Forest, right near a town called Triberg. This is the setting. It's this incredible, super dense forest that has been the backdrop for the castle's entire story, watching it go from a tough-as-nails fortress to the icon it is today. But listen, this gorgeous place didn't start out as some fairy tale palace. Nope, its roots are all about power and conflict. If you really want to get Schwarzwald, you have to forget the royalty for a second and see it for what it was, a serious, hardcore instrument of war. And that brings us to this idea of a stronghold. I mean, that's exactly what Schwarzwald was at the beginning. Back in medieval times, the guys who built it, the Counts of Freiblingen, they weren't building a cozy home. They were building a fortress, something strategic meant to completely dominate the area and scream, "We are in charge." And this wasn't just a short-term thing. Its military career went on for centuries. I mean, it pops up in the records way back in 1350. By the 1600s, it's a critical fortress in the 30 Years' War, which was just brutal. Fast forward another 200 years to the 1800s, and it's still being used as a headquarters for Prussian troops. Think about that. This place was an active military site for almost 500 years. That's just wild. All right, so after all that time focused on war, things started to calm down a bit. And that's when the castle started a totally new chapter. It went from this cold, stark fortress to a genuine architectural masterpiece. Seriously, when you walk inside today, it's like taking a tour through time, with each era leaving its own unique stamp on the place. So what you've got here is this incredible mashup of three different styles, all layered on top of each other. First, the Renaissance came in and gave it that nice, orderly look, with symmetrical designs and fancy decorations. Then, bam, the Baroque period adds all this drama. Think huge, sweeping arches and grand staircases. And finally, you get the Gothic Revival, which kind of looks back at the old medieval style, with those classic pointed arches. It's like a history book of architecture, showing how tastes and money changed over the years. Let's zoom in on a couple of my favorite spots. First, the Great Hall. I mean, it is just breathtaking. The ceilings are so high they just soar, and the stone carvings are unbelievably detailed. And then you have the chapel, which is pure Baroque heaven. It's covered in these amazing carvings and beautiful frescoes. These two rooms, more than anything, show you that shift from a practical fortress to a palace of art. Okay, so we've seen the history you can read in books, but now it's time to go deeper. Let's talk about what you can't see. You know every great castle has its secrets, right? Well, Schwarzwald is no exception. Its secrets are everywhere, in the old stories people tell, and even built right into its foundations. So we've got the history, we've got the architecture, but what about the juicy stuff? What are the real secrets, the legends and mysteries that make these old stones feel alive? Of course, a place this ancient has to be haunted, right? And the most famous story they tell is about a ghostly knight. They say he's from the castle's very first days, and he still patrols the halls. It's a pretty spooky reminder of just how long and how violent the castle's military past really was. And these secrets aren't just stories. They're literally built into the castle. Get this. It has over 10 towers and walls just for defense. It used to have a massive moat that was fed by the Danny River. And coolest of all, there's a whole system of secret underground tunnels from the Middle Ages, perfect for getting away or launching a surprise attack. It just goes to show you, this place was built to survive. On top of everything else, the castle is also home to some absolutely priceless treasures. The art collection is insane. It has works by European masters like Albrecht Dürer. And kind of as a throwback to its military days, it's got this huge collection of armor. We're talking amazing suits made of both iron and bronze. The place is basically a museum.
So you have to wonder, right? After all these centuries of being a fortress, a palace, a place full of secrets, how does a castle like Schwarzwald even exist, let alone stay relevant in the 21st century?
Well, here's how. It becomes a major destination. Check out this number. More than 100,000 people visit this castle every single year. People from all over the world. That's how you know it's successfully made the jump from a private fortress to a public icon that everyone loves. Today, it's all about preservation. The German government actually owns it now, and they run it as a public museum. They're constantly doing restoration work to make sure this piece of history sticks around for a long, long time. And it's a huge deal. It's a key part of the Black Forest region, which is a protected UNESCO cultural site. And here's something you might not have seen coming. The castle has a modern claim to fame. Because it looks so timeless and, frankly, so intimidating, it's been the perfect backdrop for huge shows like Game of Thrones and The Last Kingdom. How cool is that? It's bringing that medieval vibe to millions of people all over the world. So when you think about it, this castle's story is all about reinvention. It's been a fortress, a palace, a museum, and now a movie set. The reason it's still standing is because it has always been able to adapt. So after more than 700 years, it really makes you wonder, what's next? What could this place possibly become in another 700 years?